Something unexpected appears to be happening in Japan after SB19's appearance at Summer Sonic. And if these reactions from Japanese viewers are anything to go by, the Filipino group may have just created a whole new wave of curiosity around themselves. Because these weren't simply Ottans celebrating their favorite group. These were Japanese viewers talking about SB19 after experiencing them live. Some came because they were curious. Some had heard about the group before. Some were interested because of SB19's connection with Kento Nakajima. And others seemingly just wanted to see what the Filipino group was all about. But after the performance, the tone changed completely, and some of the reactions are honestly fascinating. One viewer admitted that they initially approached SB19 with a very casual attitude. Because the group had collaborated with Kento before, they thought they might as well check them out. That sounds innocent enough. But then the song started, and suddenly, this casual viewer was thinking, "Whoa, this is awesome." They even said they planned to listen to SB19 on Spotify later. Then they recognized GENTO, and just when they were getting into the performance, something happened that completely changed the experience. Kento appeared. Another Japanese viewer described the moment perfectly. They said they were all the way at the back, around the toilet line, when they suddenly realized what was happening. GENTO and Kento was on the screen. Their reaction was basically disbelief. Kento? And then came the realization that, yes, Kento was actually there. The surprise appearance clearly sent the crowd into another level of excitement. But here's what makes this story bigger than a celebrity cameo. Because after the initial excitement surrounding Kento, people continued talking about SB19. And they weren't talking about them like an ordinary festival act. One first-time viewer described SB19's vocals as insanely powerful. They talked about the performance having almost a mystical quality, as if the sound had some kind of gravitational pull. Think about how powerful that description is. This person wasn't simply saying, the vocals were good. They were struggling to explain why the performance felt so powerful. They described an intensity that seemed to pull people in and talked about SB19's unique qualities, their vocal range, and the way the performance created a chain reaction that made cheers come out almost involuntarily. And then they singled out Stell's high notes. Those high notes, according to the translated reaction, were described as an overwhelming weapon. That is quite a first impression, especially because Summer Sonic isn't some small, controlled concert environment. It's a massive festival. The audience is diverse. People are moving around. There are countless artists competing for attention. And for an international act like SB19, one of the biggest challenges is making people who may not know you stop and pay attention. But these reactions suggest that SB19 didn't just get attention. They held it. One Japanese viewer even described SB19 as the absolute best. They said they had checked out the group because people recommended them and found the music exotic, catchy, and incredibly fun. Then they praised the vocals again, specifically highlighting the high-toned voice of one of the members and saying the singing skills were simply too good. And now we're seeing a pattern. Different Japanese viewers, different accounts, different experiences, but the same basic reaction. SB19 impressed them. Then there was another comment that might be one of the most telling reactions of them all. One person admitted that SB19 was so insanely hyped that they were glad they bought merchandise the day before. And then they asked a question that says everything about what may have happened at Summer Sonic. Can I call myself a fan or what? Think about the journey behind that sentence. Someone wasn't necessarily walking into the festival as a committed SB19 fan. They were watching. They were curious. They were taking everything in. And by the end, they were already wondering if they could call themselves a fan. That is how new fandoms are created. Not through advertising. Not through forcing people to pay attention, but through an experience that makes somebody say, wait a minute, I need more of this. Another viewer talked about dancing like crazy to SB19's music because of the pounding 4-on-the-floor bass. So this wasn't only about vocals. The rhythm was connecting. The energy was connecting. The performance was connecting. And that matters because SB19's strength has always been the combination of different elements. The vocals, the choreography, the production, the stage presence. the personality, the music. When those things come together, the audience doesn't simply sit there and observe. They react. And some viewers were already talking about wanting to experience that atmosphere again. One person said they wanted to experience that space again. Another talked about GENTO being burned into their eyes and wanting to see it one more time. Someone else praised the group's stamina and described the sheer power of seeing them perform live. That is a very important distinction. A good song can make somebody listen once. A good performance can make somebody remember you. But a great live performance can make somebody want to come back. And that's exactly what seems to be happening here. Then, of course, there is Ken. One Japanese viewer simply declared that Ken was way too handsome. Another person praised the group as a whole while talking about the impact of seeing them live. And even those small reactions matter because they show that viewers were connecting with individual members, not just the group name. This is how an international audience begins forming an attachment. First, someone notices the music. Then they notice the vocals. Then the performance. Then a particular member catches their attention. Then they search for the songs. Then they watch another performance. And before they know it, they're part of the fandom. That's why these Japanese reactions are worth paying attention to. The biggest story isn't simply that Japanese viewers liked SB19 at Summer Sonic. The bigger story is that some people appear to have gone into the experience without fully knowing what they were about to see. And they came out talking about SB19. One person wanted to watch GENTO again. Another wanted to experience the atmosphere again. Another praised their vocals. Another couldn't stop talking about their energy. Another was impressed by Stell's high notes. Another was shocked by Kento's surprise appearance. And another was already wondering whether they could officially call themselves a fan. That's a powerful chain reaction. And for SB19, this is exactly the kind of exposure that can matter internationally. Because you don't always need everyone in the audience to know your name before you perform. Sometimes you just need them to stop, watch, listen, and give you a chance. Then the performance has to do the rest. And judging from these reactions, SB19 may have done exactly that. They didn't just show up at Summer Sonic representing the Philippines. They gave a Japanese festival audience something to talk about. They gave first-time viewers a reason to search their music. They gave curious listeners a reason to come back. And they may have even created some brand new fans in the process. Because when somebody goes from, "I might as well check them out," to, "I bought the merch," and finally asks, "Can I call myself a fan?" you know something happened. And perhaps the most exciting part is that this could only be the beginning. If SB19 continues putting themselves in front of international audiences and delivering performances that create reactions like these, the question may no longer be whether people outside the Philippines are discovering them. The question could soon become just how many new people are discovering them. And Summer Sonic may have just given Japan a very loud introduction to SB19.